Good morning, I'm Latvia's Foreign Minister Baiba Braže. I'm here at the Foreign Affairs Council on Trade. We look forward to a substantial discussion on the future of Europe's trade, also an exchange of views on the relations with the US. We'll also discuss over the lunch the reform of the WTO. And then we have a particular point under AOB, which is about increasing tariffs on Russian and Belarusian goods. So our stance has always been very constructive. We are a free, open economy. So we believe in free trade, especially now when we have such high needs with regard to security and defense as both the EU but also among the democracies around the world. So trade instruments are very important in that respect. We have seen from the data that Commission has published that after concluding free trade treaties, whether with Korea or Japan or Canada or other countries, our exports from the EU has grown. So if we speak about security as a basis for prosperity, we have to use those instruments also with regard to other regions. We are negotiating Mercosur, so I do hope that country that is hesitant will come about and will increase its involvement in positive way in this regard. So we support Commission's agenda on that. Also with other regions, Indo-Pacific, also countries in the Gulf are interested in advancing relationship with the EU. So there's a lot that we can do as EU. Then on the import tariffs on Russia Belarus, obviously crucially important to make sure that the money that we as EU have, both nationally but also as our taxpayers, go to the countries that support international law, that are not aggressors. If we buy from Russia and Belarus, that money goes into the budget of Russia. It helps waging the war. That is not acceptable. So we support a very ambitious proposal from the Commission on increasing import tariffs on the Russian-Belarusian goods. So that will be what discussed under AOB today.
Minister, what instruments does the European Union have against possible punitive tariffs from the US?
I haven't seen any punitive tariffs of the US yet. It's all in the air as ideas, but relationship with the US overall, mutually beneficial relationship is a basis again for the competitiveness around the globe. So that is the approach we will have. A positive relationship, mutually supportive relationship, open dialogue. So that is something that is possible. Obviously, if there are different views, if there are cases of competition, they have to be solved through the WTO. There are negotiating mandates, there are dispute settlement possibilities, so let's not politicize them. So we are constructive, and there is nothing more important currently in this world of war than positive relationship, constructive relationship with the US, our biggest strategic partner.
Proposal to increase the import tariffs. When do you expect the Commission to put forward the proposal? Would it need to be to include an impact assessment? And what about the fertilizers? Should they be included in this?
Fertilizers should be included, of course, and quite clear. There is also a Polish proposal that we support with that specific regard. So it's not just about agriculture products, it's about the wide range of products. This Commission is finishing work. It's the last session, last FAC trade of the cabinet, but of the Commission. But in the same time, the colleagues in the Commission continue working. The DGs don't change, so they will continue working. So we will provide guidance to them today. Again, we have to look at a very clear impact. Indeed, how do we decrease money in Russia's coffers? That is the most important thing. Because we address the particular issues on technology or on other goods that increase Russia's ability to fight through sanctions, through restrictive measures. This is about decreasing amount that Russia has to fight the war. So every step is a good one.
Do you think Europe should buy more LNG from the United States?
Absolutely. Our president had a conversation with Donald Trump the other day, the day before yesterday, and he said that very openly, that we'll be ready to buy more.
What do you think of the choice of Howard Lutnick as Commerce Secretary?
I will not comment on any particular personalities. As I said, we will be ready for a constructive relationship, and that is what we understand. The US also will be ready.
So first engage in dialogue and then hit hard if Trump could keep.
That's what you say.
But you feel better prepared than after his first election?
Listen, as Latvia, we have worked with both sides of the House for many, many years. We have a large Latvian community that votes both sides. So for us, the most important thing is not about what party wins. We will work with any administration, but actually the issues that we need to solve. And those issues are quite prominent in today's world. So that relationship, open, constructive relationship, ability to have the dialogue, to know the people, to talk to them, to explain things. They might express themselves very differently from what I do and how I do. That's fine. We are different people from different countries and we speak English, but we might express ourselves differently. That's fine.
On China, we heard some countries saying that the EU should be tougher on China because of those unfair trade practices that China is using. What's the stance of your country?
We fully support the Commission's proposal with regard and the joint EU strategy towards China. I mean, the three pillars are as valid as they are, with security risks and certain behaviors that we don't regard as appropriate, lack of transparency on the growth of military capabilities, conventional, nuclear and others. It's a great concern. So we just had consultations at the state secretary level in Beijing and we were very open about it. But also in the same time, obviously, China is a competitor to the EU companies, not only within the EU, not only through the subsidies, not only through the unfair practices, but also in the third countries. In Latin America or other countries or Africa, where they, through subsidies, through other means, are actually pushing out our companies. That's not okay. But also, China can be a constructive actor in certain cases. So that is something that also we have to take into account and not deny that that can be the case.
Do you feel like the EU is maybe squeezed between the US with Trump going back and China and increasing trade tensions?
I don't feel that, no.
And then another question on Mercosur, do you think we are indeed going to have an agreement announced perhaps at the Montevideo summit early December?
Again, I'm always very, very careful on sort of trying to speculate what will come if and when, etc. So there are always building blocks and avenues. How do you try to get certain outcomes? So to keep in mind those outcomes and to sort of build the positive road towards it and use various methods because each country has their connections, has their networks, has their abilities to engage. So it's possible, but it requires diplomatic work. That's why we are ministers. That's why, we work across the world. But for the EU, I think we have a lot of potential for our companies. As I said, I just looked at the data, how we have grown in our exports after concluding the free trade agreements. So Mercosur, Indo-Pacific, GCC, they want us, digital partnerships, for services, for everything. It's all there. Thank you.